just 1 year before 3x3's historic Olympic debut, it's time to fight for a spot to Tokyo 2020. And what better place to slug it out than Amsterdam, the iconic city of the Netherlands. A country crazy for 3x3 and home to some of the very best players in the world. The famous Museum Square hosts the 6th edition of the FIBA 3x3 World Cup, our biggest national team event, with the same number of men and women's teams. A sanctuary for 3x3, a 10-minute basketball sprint played on a half court with one hoop between two teams of 3 players, and a cultural event that goes beyond sport. Coming up next, we sit down with the brilliant Bentonville sisters, Jill and Lois, who talk about their shared love of 3x3 and open up on what it's like being incredibly close siblings. A member of another famous basketball family, Canyon Barry, shares his journey into 3x3 and what it means to represent mighty USA. And of course, let's review all the action from 3x3's showcase event, where the 40 best teams in the world aim to bring the title home and capture glory for their country. World Cup hosts have a special opportunity to showcase their passion for 3x3, and the Netherlands are no exception at this edition. Best example is the Bentonville sisters, Jill and Lois, who have been at the heart of the women's national team's success in recent years. The close siblings can't be separated off the court, and their special relationship allows them to be honest with each other on the court.
We're a little bit on the same level and we spend so much time together, so we know each other really well, and that's really nice.
I mean, we play basketball together, but then besides the court, yeah, we like to go out for coffee or lunch and shopping, of course. It's easy for us to tell each other something, whatever it is, or on the court, off the court. So I think for her it's easier to tell me, yeah, I'm open there, or look at me in the post, or whatever. Then we find each other also like easier. Sometimes we can just look at each other and we know what we think or something. That's really funny. And besides basketball or outside the court, we also talk about these things.
It's always FIBA 3x3 on YouTube and just see what's on. And next year our life is like kind of 3x3, so yeah. I think we're really obsessed.
I just like the whole atmosphere around it, so that's for me the biggest reason to do it. It's really quick, you just have to move on the whole time, you can't give up or something, and I really like it that you can't give up.
They have been at the core of the Netherlands' strong performances in recent years. None more impressive than a 4th-place finish at the FIBA 3x3 World Cup 2017.
It was our first World Cup together, and yeah, we end up 4th, so that was a little like not really nice.
We didn't have much preparation, so like 4th of the world is really good.
The Bentonvilles were also a part of the Netherlands' unforgettable silver finish at the Europe Cup 2018 in Bucharest, highlighted of course by a memorable semi-final victory over Italy.
Yeah, the game was really insane. We played really good. I think our best game. We played a really good tournament and yeah, we end up 2nd, and I think it felt a little bit as gold for us.
Now, even though the Netherlands had an early exit, playing in front of a sea of orange at home, the World Cup is always going to be a career highlight for them.
It's just so special to play in your own country with your family, friends, like all the orange behind you. I think it's a really special feeling. It gives a lot of energy too. At World Cups, #1 seed Serbia have more W's than Walter White. The 4-time champs were riding a 15-game win streak into Amsterdam, but knew this would be the toughest challenge of them all. And how right they were. On day 2, the USA, with Robbie Hummel throwing flames from downtown and Kareem Maddox dominating above the rim, they made a statement with a thrilling 21-16 upset victory, their first ever against Serbia. In a must-win game against the Netherlands, Serbia silenced the local fans with a tough victory, highlighted by Mihajlo Vasic beasting inside and Dusan Bullet, aka Mr. Bulletproof, pouring in clutch buckets to get the champs back on track. With the confidence now higher than the Himalayas, Serbia easily defeated Turkey and South Korea to qualify for the quarters. It meant the hosts had to beat red-hot USA, and they had an army behind them for support. In front of a new record crowd for an outdoor venue in a 3x3 competition, the game was fittingly a nail-biter. DeMail Vanderhorst tied the game with less than a minute left, and the crowd got louder than a roaring lion. Canyon Barry wanted to spoil the party, and he gave the USA the lead. But the Netherlands, they had one last chance at glory. But Vanderhorst and Aaron Royer missed Tissot buzzer beaters. The two-time silver medalists were out of their own World Cup as soon as the pool phase. Meantime, in the women's, rising stars Australia came into the tournament blazing hot after winning the Asia Cup and Women's Series first stop in Chengdu. The Aussies rolled past Andorra and Switzerland before Maddie Garrick timed the Tissot buzzer beater to outlast Japan in a rematch of the final in Chengdu. But Australia couldn't complete a clean sweep of the pool stage after losing an epic battle against powerhouse France, who finished unbeaten to top Pool B and set up a date with defending champs Italy in the quarters. Perhaps the most impressive team of the pool stage was number 1 seeds China, who steamrolled through Turkmenistan, Latvia, and Hungary before putting a stake in the hearts of the Dutch fans with a heart-stopping victory over the Netherlands. It meant the 2017 semifinalists were knocked out of the competition, so none of the Dutch teams would see the Inleo court on the weekend. China, Russia, France, and a surprising Spain had perfect records in the first 4 days of competition. In the men's category, the USA were the only unbeaten team as they aimed to end Europe's dominance of 3x3. Besides the Netherlands, the number 2 seeds Russia once again crashed out at the group stage, following on last year's similar disappointment. This means the world champs Serbia and 2017 European champs Latvia are on the same side of the bracket and will play France and Ukraine respectively in the quarterfinals. On the other side of the bracket, USA face Slovenia in a mouth-watering contest, while Poland meet Puerto Rico. The women's category is highlighted by a blockbuster clash between reigning world champs Italy and Europe Cup champs France, while 2017 world champs Russia play emerging power Australia. China, Romania, Spain, Hungary meet in the other quarterfinals. The USA look to continue their dominant form in the knockout stages and end their World Cup curse. Only once have they made it to the Final Four, and Europe Cup 2016 winner Slovenia loomed as a major challenge. But there was no need to worry, not when Canyon Barry spun defenders like they was laundry, and he poured in a game-high 7 points and USA's convincing 21-14 victory. Poland and Puerto Rico had played brilliantly to make it to the quarterfinals. Now they had a golden opportunity to go a step further. Puerto Rico made a fast start, and Will Martinez couldn't be stopped at the rim as the number 20 seeds closed in on their first semifinals appearance. Poland needed a hero, and who better than their number 1 player Michael Hicks, aka Money in the Bank. Hicks' 10 points and 6 rebounds were too much for Puerto Rico as Poland booked a date with the USA after making the semifinals for the second year in a row. Serbia and Latvia will meet in a hotly contested semi after the reigning champs made it 4 straight with an easy victory over France. Talking about making it look easy, Mr. Bulletproof was chunking them up from another postcode, and they were still going in, while Latvia flexed their muscles with a 21-7 thrashing of Ukraine. In the women's category, there was much anticipation over European powers France and Italy. It was one-way traffic though early, with the French faster than Mbappe in open space as they stormed out to an insane 14-1 lead. With world number 1 Mina Touré straight balling, the reigning world champs, they were about to pack their bags back to Italy. But they didn't want to end their title defense in humiliation. Italy mounted a courageous comeback, but it was too late as France held on to a 15-9 victory. France will meet Hungary, who memorably knocked out previously unbeaten Spain in an epic contest. A cold-blooded Sandra Igueravide gave Spain a pulse with a Tissot buzzer beater to send the game to OT, but this game would have more twist than Inception. After Atiana Cuevas missed the bunny, Dora Medjesi went bang bang to hit the Tissot buzzer beater and trigger wild scenes from every Hungarian in Museum Square. The other semifinal will be a titanic contest between Asia Cup champs Australia and world number 1 China, who beat Romania 16-12. The Aussies made it through to their first semifinal with a convincing 19-13 win over 2017 World Cup champs Russia. It was time for the men to shine this time after Janine Pantejos from the Philippines won it last year. The outdoor conditions made it difficult for anybody to be lights out, but Stanislav Timofeyenko from Ukraine eyed goal and had the early lead. He nailed his last money ball attempt to set the mark at 8. Latvia's Edgars Krūmiņš started fast, but the pressure became suffocating and he faded. Trailing by 1 with 1 shot left, Krūmiņš channeled the eye of the tiger and drained the money ball to set the new mark. He held on to win gold, while Timofeyenko claimed silver and Marcello Filippi from Italy won bronze. So who's the most skilled 3x3 player in the women's category? The T-Mobile and Sony Skills Contest is a tough challenge, incorporating the best combination of speed, dribbling, passing, and shooting. Mariette Paget of France came second last year, but she was determined to take it one step further this time around. After beating Aldovan Shadi head-to-head, Paget was pitted against last year's World Cup MVP, Raylene D'Elia from Italy. Paget hit the smooth J immediately to gain the head start, and Ray could not catch up. It's sweet gold for the number 3 player in the world, while D'Elia wins silver. Shadi, meantime, claimed bronze, the first ever medal for Iran in a FIBA 3x3 World Cup after defeating Andorra's Carla Ponti. Yo, I'm still catching my breath after an incredible women's semifinal between world number 1 and Red Hot Australia, who had won 18 of 19 games and never lost to China. After coming back from an early hole, the Aussies roared back through Beck Cole, whose stellar D and clutch free throws tied the game. The final moments were a block party, and this game could only be decided in overtime, which became crazier than Jack Nicholson in The Shining. After Zhang missed 2 free throw opportunities, she didn't disappoint on her next chance at the rim, as China made their first World Cup final. In the other semifinal, unbeaten France had been rolling, but Hungary, they wasn't intimidated. They had nothing to fear with Dora Medjesi draining 2-pointers like they was layups. France couldn't get going with star Minya Touré in straight lockdown. Medjesi hit the dagger, and her game-high 8 points proved to be too much for France, whose first loss of the tournament saw them eliminated. Hungary, the silver medalists 2 years ago, will have a chance to win their first ever gold. In the men's category, the games could not be more different. Let's leave the best to last. Firstly, Team USA were the only team to remain unbeaten, and that streak never looked threatened against Poland, whose star Michael Hicks, aka Money in the Bank, ran out of cash. USA was splashing like Michael Phelps, and when he wasn't doing that, Canyon Barry was driving in for open dunks. USA amazingly scored 18 of the first 19 points, and they suddenly changed their name to the Dream Team. Fittingly, Robbie Hummel ended it with a 2-piece. USA's 9th from downtown to complete their 22-8 thrashing and become the first non-European team to make the final since 2016. Okay now, you better buckle up. The second semi between rivals Serbia and Latvia was wild. Latvia were not in awe of the 3-time defending champs, with Carlos Lasmanis and Norris Miezis, aka Batman and Robin, playing superhero to give Latvia a decisive 9-point lead early. You really thought the champs would just roll over though? Nah. Serbia's big guns put the foot on the gas, and Dejan Majstorovic and Dusan Bulic started heating up. Suddenly, it was just a 1-point game, and Latvia looked like they were set for the biggest meltdown ever. But up stepped Miezis, who added another game winner to his impressive collection of ice-cool moments as he ended Serbia's dominance of the World Cup. And for the first time ever, Serbia would not reach the final at the World Cup. Latvia move on to their first ever final in their second home of Amsterdam, where they won the European Championship back in 2017. Everybody was amped up for the fully loaded Jack's Casino dunk contest. Vadim Miliputupchenko needs no introduction. He's one of the very best in the business, and he can do things in the air that defy physics and gravity. But this wasn't gonna be no one-man show. Dutchman Remco Franklin had the home support, while the diminutive Peter Grabowski from Poland can get higher than an Amsterdam coffee shop. And let's not forget Latvia's Kristaps Dargais, who's nicknamed Thor for a good reason. The High Flyers brought it immediately, with Grabowski pulling off arguably the best dunk in the first round with a slam off the bounce over a volunteer that nearly made him nosebleed. It was enough for the Pole to qualify for the final against favorite Miller. This was a battle royale that made Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine look like they were in kindergarten. Miller kicked it off with a through-the-legs reverse off the bounce, a dunk so smooth that he didn't even raise a sweat. Grabowski wasn't daunted though, as he remixed Vince Carter's iconic elbow slam. The crowd was hyped, and with good reason. Miller spun in the air like a propeller as he finished a crazy 360 off the bounce. Surely he was walking home with the top prize, right? Well, not just yet. Grabowski had other ideas, and he took the competition to another level with a dunk through the legs after he had jumped over a volunteer who was standing on a chair. Putupchenko summoned Miller time with a sick jam. He tucked the ball under both legs off the bounce to finish nastily with the left. My man got straight 10s, a feat almost matched by Grabowski, who reversed over five volunteers. Fittingly, they finished tied on 87 points, and this had to be decided with a dunk-off. Winning time equals Miller time, as the Ukrainian pulled off a masterpiece more beautiful than a Van Gogh painting with a one-handed 360 off the bounce, punctuated by a tribute to the mailman. Grabowski couldn't complete his slam, and the gold medal goes to Vadim Putupchenko for the first time ever. The Pole grabs silver, and Kristaps Dargais wins bronze for Latvia. Team USA's newest member, Canyon Barry, comes from basketball royalty. His dad, Rick, led the Golden State Warriors to the NBA title in 1975 and is forever remembered for his iconic underhand free throw, which the former University of Florida star also utilizes. His mom, Lynn, was also a standout basketball player, and brother Brent, a former NBA dunk champ.
Kind of take after my dad a little bit. Everyone sees that on the court with the underhand free throw, but my mom was a great player in her own right. She played at William & Mary in the United States, and then obviously all four of my brothers played professional basketball. And, you know, people always ask, was it a lot of pressure growing up in a basketball family? Did you feel like you had to go in the sport? But my parents did a really good job of kind of letting me decide what my passion was, and I think just growing up around the game, I grew to love it, and it's been a great ride. You know, I'm so fortunate to be able to play professional basketball. It's taken me all over the world, and I've met so many great people from it.
With competition for spots so fierce, Barry said he was thrilled to get a call up to represent his country.
When, you know, USA Basketball reached out to me to be a part of it, it was just a big honor, honestly. I think anytime you get to represent your country, there's not many opportunities that you get to do that. So being able to represent your country and play the sport you love, you couldn't turn that down.
The USA is, of course, the undisputed basketball superpower, but had never won a FIBA 3x3 World Cup. With expectations always high, the team had many doubters before they arrived in Amsterdam.
We laugh at it as a squad. You know, we're kind of getting roasted on Twitter by everyone like, this is America's team, like this is the best we could send. But it's funny because, you know, obviously I think a lot of those people haven't really watched 3x3 and probably don't know a lot about the guys on our team, where we do our best to fight really physically on defense, play hard, try to get over ball screens. And we got Kareem, who's a high-level shot blocker, can really contest around the rim. And, you know, Robbie and I are both tall, physical, have length, and can really guard well. And then obviously we got Damon, who's super quick, one of those kind of pesky ball pressure guards. So we're just trying to silence the doubters over there and do our best to win as many games as we can.
The Grand Canyon has played in some of the biggest basketball gyms, but nothing prepared him for the atmosphere of a record sellout outdoor venue like the World Cups.
The bigger college arenas and professional arenas you have in America are great, and it's an unbelievable atmosphere. But when you're playing 3x3 and it's outside and the stadium is sold out, 2,500 people kind of right on top of you, you can just feel the emotion. That's why you play the game. You know, it's a blast when you got that atmosphere and the fans are cheering and your adrenaline's pumping. So I was really proud of our guys for how we stayed together and won a hard-fought battle.
China were the hot favorites to take out the women's title. But could Hungary continue their giant killing run? From the start, the world number one were locked in, with Zaiting Zhang unmovable like the Great Wall and totally unstoppable inside. China scored the first 7 points, and their fans were already celebrating like it was Chinese New Year. Dora Medjesi produced her usual tricks, but she was clearly outnumbered. When Zhang wasn't scoring buckets from down low, Yin Young Lee and Di Wu were making it rain from deep as China ran away with it to win their first World Cup. It capped off a flawless tournament for China, and Jia Yinjiang was named MVP. France won bronze with a big win over Australia to qualify for the Olympic qualifying tournament in March 2020, along with China and Hungary. In the men's category, can a team outside of Europe finally win the World Cup? That was the question. The USA were aiming for a slice of history and to smash their World Cup voodoo. But the talented Latvians were also out for their first world title. American sniper Damon Huffman went bang bang early, while Kareem Maddox had the cream around the rim as USA skipped out to an early lead. Buckets were tough to get though, with both teams ramping up the D. But no defense can stop Flight KLM when he's ready to take off, as Carlos Lasmanis tried to rally Latvia back into the game. However, every comeback was halted by the flaming hot Huffman, and USA could taste victory. They weren't celebrating just yet, with Norris Miezis up to his old tricks beyond the arc. But the US had all the answers like a cheat sheet to claim an historic title.
It's a heck of a feeling. It's a great tournament. The fans were outstanding.
Robbie Hummel, the former Minnesota Timberwolves player, was named tournament MVP. Latvia, meantime, claimed silver and proved they're one of the powers of 3x3. In the men's bronze medal game, Poland upset reigning champ Serbia 18-15, thanks largely to another dominant performance from Michael Money in the Bank Hicks, who finished with a jaw-dropping 13 points and 8 rebounds, including an unbelievable game winner from beyond the arc. It means Poland joined USA and Latvia in the Olympic qualifying tournament. It's that time again. There was a lot of heated debating, but we made our picks. Here are our top 5 plays of the World Cup. Starting things off at number 5, you just knew Dushan Bullet was gonna make the list. Even when Mr. Bulletproof chunks it up from the logo, they somehow go in. At number 4, the miraculous buckets continue with Joshua Irazo pulling out a party trick that shouldn't be tried at home. At number 3 is all D, as in disrespectful, from Stephanie Mawuli. At number 2, Hungary were a revelation at the World Cup, thanks mainly to Dora Medjesi, who's never late when it comes to a TSO buzzer beater.
And the number 1 spot goes to Michael Hicks, aka Money in the Bank, who cashed his checks with the bronze medal on the line. The 6th edition of the FIBA 3x3 World Cup was epic and undoubtedly the best ever. And we know the Olympics is inching closer, but we got plenty of 3x3 coming y'all way. On July 5th, the 3rd stop of the women's series in Poitiers. And on July 6th, the 3rd Masters of the FIBA 3x3 World Tour in Mexico City, with the biggest stars on the 3x3 pro circuit. And the action never stops on our social media channels, you know that, at FIBA 3x3 on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. You can't miss us.